Please, if my audio is not clear, let me know in the comment section. If you guys can hear me properly, please let me know on the comment section if you guys can hear me properly. All right, you are welcome to Sunday's program. This is the first program in the morning. All right, my local time. It might be afternoon or evening in your local time. So you are welcome to today's program. All right. Looking from the topic, first of all, let me thank you guys for those that joined me yesterday for the first time on TikTok. I really appreciate it. All right. Yesterday was my first day to go live stream on TikTok. I'm streaming on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, on those platforms now, so you can watch me from any of those platforms. All right. So from today's topic, you could see that we're going to be discussing about what to eat with prediabetics. Okay, what to eat if you have prediabetics, and I'm gonna let you guys know. And hasn't sent gifts for a while. Join. So I'm going to let you guys know what is prediabetics, what is the difference between prediabetics and diabetics. Now, what are the symptoms of prediabetics, and what are you expected to do if you have prediabetics? When should you be conscious about prediabetics, and what to eat if you have prediabetics? Now, I've said to you guys, the hardest aspect of living with diabetics or managing diabetics is dieting. If you find it very difficult to control your dieting, to eat properly, you find it very difficult to live with your diabetics. Now, as I was saying yesterday, it doesn't matter how many medications you are taking. If you are not dieting properly, your blood sugar is going to still remain high. So everything has to complement each other. Your medication, your dieting, your exercise, reducing your weight are the key to living with diabetics and managing them properly to live a normal life. So what are those things to eat if you have prediabetics? That is the title of this video. And again, once again, if you cannot hear me properly, if my audio is not clear, please let me know on the comment sections to adjust my audio. All right, and if this is your first time coming across my page in any of those platforms, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, please kindly subscribe to the page. All right, so anytime I drop a new content or I go live, automatically be notified. So that is it. Okay, I'm going to exercise some few minutes. Let everybody join the program, and then we can kick on with the topic. Thank you for the gift that you sent. Those that are sending gifts, I appreciate it. Thank you for the gift that you sent. All right. So, trying to. All right. I believe your Sundays are okay with you. All right. All right. What to eat? First of all, I have to let you guys know what is prediabetics. Now, one thing you have to understand is when you have prediabetics, that doesn't have have to develop into type 2 diabetics. So anytime you are prediabetics, that does not mean it must go into type 2 diabetics, because it's a process. Now, prediabetics is when your sugar level is high enough, that is above the normal level. First of all, you have to understand what are the normal level of your sugar levels or your glucose levels. You have to understand what are the numbers. If you don't know the numbers, you cannot tell whether you're prediabetics or not. So first of all, you have to understand what are the numbers of prediabetics. So you might be having some, as I said, symptoms of diabetics are silent and mild. You might live with that. You might have diabetes for 6 months, a year, 2 years without even knowing that you're diabetic. The symptoms might be there, but you are not conscious of yourself to say there's something wrong with my body, or you might be ignoring them. until once such a time you rush to the hospital to see your doctor, and they say, let me do a blood work, and then the result come back to say you are diabetic. Okay, so sometimes the symptoms of diabetics or pre-diabetics are similar, silent, not noticeable. It's only two out of those symptoms that are noticeable, but later in the advanced stage. Okay, so that is why it is important at all times when you are doing your blood work to check your glucose levels. So what is pre-diabetics? Pre-diabetics is when your sugar level is high, just high above the threshold, but it is not high enough to be medically classified you as a diabetic. Yes, the sugar level is above the threshold, above the number, but it is not high enough to medically classify you or diagnose you as a diabetic patient. That is what's called pre-diabetics. Now, sometimes we refer pre-diabetics as a borderline diabetics. Another name for pre-diabetes is borderline diabetes. It means it's on the borderline. Okay? It's right at the borderline. So that's when you hear borderline diabetes, we are referring to pre-diabetics. Okay? So it's right at the border. It has not crossed into a full-blown type 2 diabetics, and it is not below. So we could refer them as borderline diabetics. All right? So that is what is called pre-diabetics. But you have to understand the numbers to be able to classify them as Radha, hi, you are welcome. Okay, so that is what is called pre-diabetics. Now we are going to look at what to eat if you have pre-diabetes. Alex, you are welcome. All right. Now, even though you are pre-diabetics, the result come back says you are pre-diabetics. That does not mean it must go into full-blown type 2 diabetics. So once you are on a borderline diabetes, they call it pre-diabetics, you are lucky enough. That is when doctors are going to advise you that this is the time for you to revise it, to send it back before you become fully diabetic. That is the last chance you have to reverse the trend backward. Because once it crosses that threshold and you become diabetes, no more. But at that borderline, you are not yet a diabetic. That is one chance for you to send it back. So you have doctors are going to tell you what to do: exercise, reduce your weight. Now watch what you eat, the kinds of food you eat, less sugar, for all this Coke, Fanta, all those sugary items, stop it. So it's going to take you a lot of work to start changing your diet, eating healthy, exercising, to send it back, reverse it back. We call it remission, sending it into remission. Okay, and hasn't sent gate. Okay. So that is what is called pre-diabetics. So pre-diabetes doesn't have to develop into type 2 diabetics. That is a fact. Okay? Eating plenty of fiber, all right? Monitoring carb intake, all right? Limiting portion sizes and other habits can, help keep the blood sugar levels within a healthy range. So that time that you are pre-diabetics, okay, those times that you are pre-diabetics, and that is what doctors are going to tell you: more fiber, less carb. So that's when you're going to eat plenty of fiber. Now, one thing you have to understand, we have two types of carbs. You either go for the simple carb or the complex carb. You have to understand what are the food of simple carb and what are the food of complex carb. As a pre-diabetes or a diabetes, you have to stay away any food that fall under simple carbohydrate. Those ones are the food that is going to cause your blood sugar level to rise instantly. Once you eat those food instantly, it's going to make your blood sugar level to rise, because your system is going to start breaking them down, converting them into glucose, and then dumping them into your bloodstreams. So we have the simple carb and the complex carb. So as a diabetic or as a pre-diabetes, you have to look for those food that fall within the range of complex carbohydrate. Those complex carbohydrate, your body cannot break them down, and it does not affect your blood sugar levels instantly. So eating plenty of fiber, monitoring your carb intake, that is how much carbs that you allowed to take per meal, per day, and also limiting portion sizes. You also have to, the time for you to eat large bowl of food, because the bigger the food you eat, the bigger the carb content in it. So you have to limit your portion sizes to a smaller size, because the bigger the food, the bigger the carb. There is no food that you eat today that does not have carbohydrate. That is why they ask you limit your carb intake, and then limiting your portion sizes and other. Once you keep all to these rules, that's going to help you to keep your blood sugar levels on a healthy range. Okay? That's going to help you to be on a healthy range. Please share the videos to your friends. Invite your friends to join the program this morning or this afternoon or this evening, depending on your location. All right, please, those that are watching on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. And if you have any question, please let me send it on the comment sections. And if my audio is not clear, please let me know on the comment section too. If my audio is not clear, please let me know on the comment section. Somebody send me a message. Let me see what it is. Somebody sent me a message, but I cannot see that message. I can't see your message on YouTube. You send me a message, I can't see it. It's all right? So let's continue. All right? So now I'm going to go straight. I've told you guys what all right, I'm seeing what you guys are sending. I'm seeing it. I'm just checking it now. Okay, so that is what is prediabetes. All right. Alex, do you have any question? Now, how your eating relate to prediabetes? How your eating relate to prediabetes? How does your eating relate to diabetes? That is the question. I just saw the question now. You said, how does your eating relate to prediabetics? That is what you're asking me. I'm just checking it on my computer here. No, my WhatsApp is not yet. I turned it off. Let me finish the program and then I can answer your question on WhatsApp. How does your eating relate to prediabetics? That is what you're asking. All right. I know you sent me a, hold on, I'm trying to see what is going on. Hello, Champ says hello, eat protein, okay. Now, in prediabetics, the question is, how does your eating relate to prediabetics? It's very important. It's key to sending your prediabetics into remission. Okay, reversing it. In prediabetics, sugar from food begin to build up in your bloodstreams. Okay, because insulin can't easily move the sugars into the cells of your body. That's what I'm trying to say. When you are pre-diabetics or have a borderline diabetes, it means there's an elevation above the threshold of your sugar levels in your bloodstreams. But it is not high enough to be classified as a full type 2 diabetes. You're not yet a diabetic, officially. In that position as a pre-diabetics, you stand a chance to send into remission, to reverse it. Now, what happened in pre-diabetes is that you might not know. Glucose start building up in your bloodstreams because you are insulin resistant. Your insulin is not able. There are two things that happen why you become pre-diabetics or diabetics. It has to do with when you become insulin resistant. And you have to understand what is insulin resistance. Most people doesn't know what is called insulin resistance. That is when you become diabetes. Because, for instance, a healthy human being, okay, when your pancreas is not functioning properly, two things occur why you become diabetics or why you begin to become pre-diabetics to diabetes. Because it has to start with pre-diabetics and then to full-blown diabetics, type 2 diabetics. The pancreas. The pancreas is not what is responsible for producing that insulin. It's not what is responsible to producing that insulin that you need to get rid of those excess glucose levels into the cells of your body. Now, inside that pancreas, there's something we call beta cells. Beta cells is what is responsible in producing those insulin that your body need to get rid of those excess glucose levels from your bloodstreams into the cells of your body where it is needed as energy. How does it work? Now, when there's a glucose level, sugar building up in your bloodstream, and it exceeds the threshold, your brain is going to send a signal to the pancreas and say, there is too much sugar in your bloodstreams, release the insulin. Then the pancreas is going to release the insulin from the beta cells into the bloodstreams. And it goes and move all the excess glucose level from your bloodstreams and then push them into the cells of the body, into your muscle tissues, to the liver to be stored in the form of glycogen. That is where they are needed to be used as energy. So it's going to move, that insulin is going to move those excess glucose levels into the cells of the body. That is when you are healthy, your pancreas is functioning properly. But when your pancreas is not functioning properly, there are two things occur. It's either the pancreas is not producing enough insulin that the body needs to get rid of those excess glucose level or sugar level building in your bloodstreams. It's not producing enough. Then there is a build-up of sugar levels of glucose into the bloodstreams. That's when you start developing prediabetics and diabetics. You understand? Now, either it is not producing enough insulin or it's producing more than enough insulin. It's producing more than enough, but your system, your body doesn't know how to use those insulin to get rid of those excess glucose levels into the cells where they are. That is when your body is not accessing the glucose. You become insulin resistant. So it has to do with the function and production. Sometimes we refer to type 2 diabetes as function and the other one as production. Because one, it is not producing enough, or it's more than producing enough, but your system doesn't know how to use those excess insulin to get rid of those excess glucose levels into the cells where they are needed. As I'm talking, I'm using the excess glucose levels that are stored in the cells of the body to talk. Because you need those energy for the body to function daily. That is why they said any food that you eat that does not contain carbohydrate is not a balanced diet. It must contain carbohydrate in it. Because our body needs those carbs to function daily. When you stand, when you walk, when you run, when you talk, when you are sitting down, anything you are doing, you are using those excess glucose level that was taken from the bloodstream and then moved into the cells of the body to be stored and then convert into energy. So that is what is happening. So that is how the prediabetes start building up. We have the glucose levels start building up in your bloodstreams, and it gets to a stage whereby the cells are not getting access to those glucose levels. Then if you don't start to find a way to reverse it, it goes over to become type 2 diabetes. But when you have prediabetes, that does not mean certainly that you're going to have type 2 diabetes. All right? What does constant sugar levels of 4.5 to some those that are watching me? I have a question from Facebook. Alex says, what does constant sugar levels of 4.5 to 6 indicate, please? Now, those that are watching me live now can watch this video on TikTok live. Now, when I finish the program, you cannot see. You only see the clicks of the video on TikTok, because TikTok allows you to only 60 second, 1 minute video. So for those that are watching me on TikTok now, if you want to watch the full video later on, you have to go to YouTube or Facebook to watch the video in full. What TikTok is going to give you are the clips of what I discussed today, and then you can follow up to watch them. So now Alex says, what does constant sugar level of 4.5 to 6 indicate, please? When your sugar level, Alex, when your sugar level is 4.5 to 6, your sugar level is normal. Okay, that is normal. You don't have anything to worry. So anytime you test your sugar level and it's between 4.5 to 6, that is within the range. You don't have anything to worry. Okay, you don't have anything to worry. Now, when your sugar level, because it's up to 7, anything that exceeds 7 or 120 milligram per deciliter then it means your sugar level is high. So when your sugar level exceeds 7 milligram per deciliter or 120 millimole per deciliter per liter, it means the sugar level is high. It's excess, depending on the device or on the conversion that you are using. In Africa, I think they use milligram per deciliter or millimole per liter. So 7 is equivalent to 120. So if your sugar level exceeds 7 or 120, it means you're diabetic. So if it's fall within the range below 7, you are okay. If it's on 7, that is what we call pre-diabetics. All right. So let's look at those food. Okay, let's look at those food. I'm getting some questions. Hold on, let me check it. So I believe I've answered the question how eating affects your diabetes. So now the amount and type of carbohydrate you consume through the food influence the type of carbohydrate influence your blood sugar. That's why I said there are 2 types of carbohydrate. We have the simple carbohydrate and we have the complex carbohydrate. The simple carbohydrate, any food that is called simple, fall within the simple carbohydrate is what is going to influence a spike in your sugar level. So if you identify those food that are simple carbohydrate and you consume them, those are the food that is going to influence a spike in your sugar level. Now, complex carbohydrate food, those are food that cannot influence a spike in your sugar level because your body cannot break them down easily. There's a delay process, even though you are consuming those foods. So that is why I say diabetes or pre-diabetes, you have to find those foods that are complex carbohydrate and stick to them. Simple carbohydrate food, stay away from them because those are going to influence a spike in your sugar levels. All right? So if you have pre-diabetics, your body likely has a difficult time lowering your blood sugar levels because of the insulin resistance. Now let's look at the food. Okay, let's look at those foods to eat with pre-diabetics. Number 1 is eat. It's the same thing I was trying to say before. Number 1, if you're pre-diabetics or a diabetics, you have to eat fiber-rich food. As a diabetic or even as a pre-diabetic, you have to consume food that are high in fiber and less carb. You cannot avoid carbs in your food. Any food that you're eating that does not contain carbohydrate is not a balanced diet because your body needs those carbs to function. Our body needs those carbs to function daily. So number 1 food is eat high fiber food. You have to identify what are those food. Okay, what are those food that are rich in fiber? You have to identify them. What are those food that are rich in fiber? Is eat fiber-rich food. Okay, so fiber offers several benefits. It helps you feel full longer. When you eat food that contains a lot of fiber, it makes you full longer. That means you don't eat. You can't be eating every second. It keeps you full for a longer period of time. Okay, it also adds bulk to your diet. It contains a lot of bulk to your diet, making bowel movement very easy. So when you eat high fiber food, not only does it keep you full for a longer period, thereby you are not eating frequently and then spiking up your sugar levels or your carb intake, it also helps in your bowel movement. So when you go to the toilet to sit down, so your bowel movement easy, okay, to push, to flow. So eating high fiber food can make you less likely to overeat. That's one thing, can make you less likely not to overeat and also help you avoid the crash. Okay? What we mean avoid the crash? Avoid the crash meaning help you to avoid eating constantly. Anything that cross by you, you want to eat. But when you eat rich fiber food, it keeps you to feel full longer period by avoiding the crash. Now, those food that you eat, they contain carbohydrate. And they all add up. You eat this one, you eat this one, they all contain carbs. And by the time they add up, you exceed your carb intake and then you have the effect of spiking your sugar levels. Okay, so high sugar food will often give you a big boost, and that's why you have to stay away from it. So let's look at those food that are, let's give you examples of those food that are rich in fiber. You have to eat fruits and vegetables. Alex, have I answered your question in terms of the number that you provided? Alex, have I answered your question? Hold on, let me see something here. Once again, those that are watching me on TikTok, please, if my audio is not clear, let me know. If my audio is not clear, let me know. And also those that are watching me on the YouTube and Facebook, if my audio is not clear, let me know. because yesterday I did a program not knowing that my audio is not on, and I, later by the time I find out it's already too late, so I have to delete the video because there's no volume there, there's no audio. So what are the examples of high fiber food? It include beans and legumes. It include beans and legumes. Beans and legumes are examples of high fiber food. Okay? Fruit and vegetable that have edible skin. Fruit and vegetable that have what? Edible skins. Okay? Whole grains such as quinoa and barley. Whole grain such as quinoa and barley. Whole grain bread and cereals. Okay? Whole grain bread and cereals. You got to stay away from white bread. White bread is a simple carbohydrate. White rice is a simple carbohydrate. That is going to have an immediate effect in your sugar level to go high. So, whole wheat pasta, oats, okay, brown rice, okay, oatmeals instead of oatmeals, okay. So you're going to replace, those are examples of high fiber foods, okay, and they are complex carbohydrates because they have high fiber content in them, and it's going to keep you food for a longer period of time, okay. So those are the few examples that I can provide to you guys of food that are high in fiber. Now let's go to number 2, okay, is monitor your carb intake. Monitor your carb intake. In this monitoring your carb intake, if you're a diabetic or you have a loved one, let me give you guys an example. I know in some homes today, as I speak now, in some homes, they are worried. They have somebody that is with diabetic, and for the past 6 months or a year or 2 years, they are on medication, going from one doctor to another, and they keep wondering, why is my loved one not responding to treatment? Why is the sugar level keep rising high? The reason being is the dieting, your carb intake. You don't need to go and see a doctor. It's understanding your carb intake, the kinds of food you eat. The kinds of food you eat is what is going to solve that problem. And then your loved one is going to start responding to treatment, and then the sugar level is going to look pretty good. Is your carb intake. Okay? Is your carb intake. Now, please, if this is your first time joining this program, coming across my page, please kindly subscribe to the page, share it to your friends, like my videos if you like the content, like my videos so that we can grow together. All right, so do not forget to subscribe to this page if this is your first time coming across my page. I'm on TikTok now. I'm streaming on TikTok live now, and YouTube, and then on Facebook. Now, for those that are on TikTok, except you are watching it live now, but as soon as I finish the live program, you're not going to see the full video. What you're going to see is clips. So for you to watch the full video, you have to go to YouTube or Facebook to watch the full video. Because due to TikTok policy, the video cannot exceed 60 minutes. All right, so that is it. So what I was trying to say before, if you have a loved one, I do come across, Beverly, you're welcome. I do come across all those complaints all the time. That I've been on medication for several months and years, but still my numbers are high. This is not something you have to go and see a doctor. The simple answer or the simple resolution to that is checking what you eat, your carb intake. As I was saying yesterday, you can take the medications as much as you can. Okay, you can take medication as much as you can. If your dieting is very poor, your sugar level is going to be high constantly. And the more your sugar level is high constantly for a longer period of time, you are damaging your nerves, your organs are being damaging. The next thing is to losing some organs, having some amputations, nerve damage, blood is not circulating properly, you're going to lose your vision. A lot of things are going to happen. Okay? So monitoring your carb intake is very important. First of all, you have to understand what is allowable carb. For instance, if I'm going to eat now, how much carb is supposed to be on that plate per meal, and then per the whole 24 hours period. And then the portion size of your food matters also. These are the things you have to understand in terms of living and managing diabetics. Monitoring your carb intake. Okay? The GI, which is a tool, we call it glycemic index. You can use to determine how a particular food could affect your blood sugar. As I said, if you're a diabetic, okay, or you are a pre-diabetic, you have to avoid every food that is simple carbohydrate. Those simple carbohydrate food is those food that is going to instantly affect or spike your sugar level up. We have two types of carbs. In fact, we have three types of carbohydrate. There are three types of carbohydrate. We have the refined or simple carbohydrate. Okay, we have the refined or simple carbohydrate. We have the starch carb, and we have the fiber. So there are three types of carbs: simple or refined carbohydrate, the starch, and then the fiber. Now, you have to stay away from simple or refined carb food. Those food are what is going to instantly spark up your sugar level. You have to stay away from them completely. You have to identify those food that fall within the refined simple carbohydrate. Now, the starch carbohydrate is in between. It's mimicking simple carbohydrate and then the fiber. It is neither fiber, it is neither simple carb. It has some properties of both of them, but they are starch carbohydrate. That one can still affect your sugar level, but not instantly. There's going to be a delay in the process. Okay? The one that is going to have an immediate effect once you consume them, as you're eating them, is having an instant effect in your sugar level is the refined simple carbohydrate. You have to identify those foods and stay away from it. Stay away from starch carbohydrate, and then as a pre-diabetic or diabetes, go for fiber. Fiber is one type of carbohydrate. Okay? So in general, as I was trying to say, okay, in general, food that have high GI, any food that have high GI index, stay away from it. But you have to understand what are the numbers, what number classification, because the GI index uses numbers within this range. Any number that falls between this range, they have a high GI index, stay from them. Any food that has a lower GI index is good for you as a diabetic. So there are different ways to eliminate certain food. Monitoring your carb not have an effect in your sugar level. Okay, so food with a lower GI index have less effect in your sugar levels. And what are those foods? They must be below 6. They must be below 50. From 0 to 50 are lower GI index. From 50 to about 60 or 70 is medium, and then the higher is that. So any food that is from 0 to 50 is lower GI index. Those ones will have a less effect in your sugar level. Okay. However, different people, like the way my body is going to process the food I eat might be different from the way your body is going to process the food you eat. Okay, so you have to learn how to monitor your carb intake. Now, it is important to be mindful of the portion sizes also. Now, let me just break it down. Per every meal that you eat, say for instance, you have a meal that you eat, it must contain 15 grams of carbs on that food per meal. Per every meal that you eat, you should not exceed 15 grams of carbs on that food. So you have your protein, you have your fruit and vegetables, you have your protein, you have your fruit and vegetables, you have your carb. Okay, I think there are six of them there. That contains some minerals and vitamins there. You have the fat, good fat. We have the good or bad fat. Now, but the carb in that plate you are eating must not exceed 15 grams per meal, because in a day you need about 60 or 65 grams of carbs per day. And they also know your calorie content. Calorie also plays a role. You also have to understand the number of the calories you allow per day. Because as a diabetic, you have to reduce weight. Anything that's going to make you add weight, stay away from it. So your calorie count also matters. Okay? Your calorie count also matters. So monitoring your carb intake is very key for pre-diabetics. Know the amount of carb that you consume. Okay, I'm trying to see what is going on here. There's a question here. Let me check. Somebody asked me a question. Let me see. There is a question here I'm trying to figure out. I saw that question as Fred was asking me a question on. Let me see what the question is all about. Fred says, how does, Fred, I'm trying to understand your question. How does one measure carb in their food? Okay, I can understand. Say, okay, Fred is asking a question on Facebook. How does somebody measure carbs in their food? That is what I'm trying to explain. Okay, that is what I'm trying to explain. Okay, now as carbs, as I said, there are several ways. Let me give you two simple ways. Per meal, you need 15 grams of carb per meal. In a day, you need about 60 to 65 grams of carbs. Okay, then you're asking me, how does one measure carbs in their food? One is your plate size. Your plate size. If you have prediabetes or you're diabetics, once you become prediabetes or diabetes, gone are the day you eat large. There are some people when they want to eat, you see a big food on the plate, a large amount of food. No, because the bigger the food, the bigger the content of the carbs in them. So your plate size, portion control is one way to monitor your carb intake. The smaller quantity of food you eat, the better for you, because it's going to be less carb in that food. And as a diabetic, you have to space your food. Say for instance, you're used to eat one big bowl of food in one go. No, you have to space it. Eat every four or 5 hours. So you eat this food now, okay, a small portion. You eat it now, you time it, in the next 4 or 5 hours, you eat another small portion. In the next 4 to 5 hours, you eat another small portion. That's how to, control your carb intake. Spacing the food and then the plate size of the food. That's one way. You cannot eat a large amount of food, sit in one bowl and eat, because the larger the amount of food, the larger the carb intake. That is one size. Then the other way is to go by GI food, because the lower the number of the GI is good for you. So you have to look at GI. If you go to a supermarket, you see some people on the shelf using a zoom mirror looking at the content of the food. They want to know what are the GI of that food. So the lower the GI of that food, the better for you. So food that have a low GI index can also have less effect in you, can also have less effect in you. Okay, so food that have a low, have a high fiber and best for your blood sugar levels. So one, I've said to you guys, plate size, portion control, spacing your food is one way to monitor your carb intake. And then also, because eat food that are high in fiber, that's going to keep you to be filled up for a longer period of time. You can't eat one large bowl of food. So that's one way to monitor your carb intake, or to know, okay, you know what, I'm not eating too much carbs. To reduce the size of the consumptions, space your food is one way, or you go by way of GI index. Fred, that's the best way I can tell you how to know the amount of carb you eat. Is your portion size matters a lot, and then spacing your food also helps to reduce your problem. So the third one is be mindful of your portion size. That's what I just explained now with Fred. Fred, I believe you understood did I answer your question, Fred? All right. So the third one is mindful of your portion size. I think I just explained it. Okay? Paying attention to your portion size can help you keep your diet low on the GI index, and they also having an effect in your sugar level. Portion size matters a lot. Gone are the days you sit in one table and eat a large amount of food. That has gone. As soon as you become pre-diabetics or a diabetics, portion control is very important. You have to be mindful of the portion size. You cannot eat a large amount of food in one go. So the size of the food that you're eating matters a lot. That's going to be mindful of your also carb intake. Remember I said, there is no food that does not contain carbs except water. So if you are pre-diabetics or want to reverse your pre-diabetes, send into remission, you have to be mindful of your portion sizes. That's the best way to control your diabetics or your pre-diabetics. Often portion sizes, like I have somebody asking me, okay, how can you determine what is portion size? What I might consider to be small for me might be bigger for you. And what you might consider to be small for you might be bigger for me. You have to be disciplined in treating your diabetics. You have to be disciplined in managing your diabetics. As I said to you guys yesterday, diabetes has no cure. Diabetes has no cure. Once your diabetes is for life, but it's treatable. You can live with it and live a normal life. The question is, how disciplined are you to manage it properly? Understanding the intricacies of diabetes. Diabetes has a language. Not everyone understands the language of diabetes. Diabetes has a language. When you are in the mix of people that are diabetics, you see the way they communicate with each other. If you're not a diabetic, you find it very difficult to understand what they're talking about. But once you become diabetes, and then you have opened yourself, exposed yourself to learn more, to get more knowledge, you understand that diabetes has a language. And when both of you communicate, you understand with each other. I've seen some people when they come to see a doctor, they stand in, doctor will be talking, they just be looking at the doctor. They don't understand what the doctor is talking about. Because if this is their first time to be diagnosed as a diabetic. So be mindful of your portion sizes is very critical, okay? So food labels can help you determine how much you're actually eating. Food labels can also help you. So food labels can also help you to determine how much you are actually eating. Okay? Now the label will list the calories, the fat, the carbohydrate, and other nutritional information for a particular serving. Now listen. Yesterday, when I was doing a video here yesterday, in fact, after I finished my live program, I got a message in my DM, and it says, please explain more what I mean by the labeling. I said, okay. There was something I said yesterday, and he wants me to expatiate more on it. And that was, if you go to the shelf, if you go to the supermarket and you want to buy something, like a tin of something, one of those processed food that are in a tin. And then, at the back of that thing, there are contents, labeling, telling you all the nutritional value in it. Now, I said to you, if you look at those contents, it's going to say carbohydrate, fat, protein, vitamin, whatever there. And then you see sugar, it says 0%. Do not be relieved or jumping that, yes, I can consume this food. Yes, you can consume it. There's a caveat. Even though it says 0% in the sugar, it is not yet done. Look at the carbohydrate content. It can be 0% sugar, but the carbs there will be 40 or 50. You can't eat it. Even if you're going to eat it, you're going to be even if you're going to eat it, that's where the portion sizes come in, or the carb intake. Even if you have to eat that food, you're going to take into consideration the limiting your carb intake and the portion size of that particular food. Even though it says 0% sugar, look at the carbohydrate. It could be 40, 50. Still, you can't eat it. Even though if you're going to eat it, that is where you have to be mindful of the portion size of that food you want to eat because of the carb content in it and limiting the carb intake. You can't just go home, buy it, and they want to finish it. When it says 43% carbohydrate, no, you can't finish it. There are too much carbs in there. Why? That carbohydrate is also sugar. Even though it says 0% sugar in it. Okay? Even though it says 0% sugar in it. Once you consume that food, that carbohydrate is going to immediately be converted into sugar and then dump them into your bloodstream. So you see the reason why people, when you see people say, oh, I've been on medication for a number of years, but each time my sugar level keep going high because of your carb intake. And they'll be wondering, I'm on medication, why am I still having problem of sugar, my sugar itself? Because of your carb intake. Because once you consume that that carbohydrate, even though it says 0% sugar, your body is going to convert that carbohydrate into sugar and then dump them into the bloodstream. So you see that your sugar levels keep going high, even though you're on medication. So you got to be mindful of your carb intakes. So that's why I say theoretically, if you're diabetic, it's gradually you have to understand how to live with it. Dieting is a very, very difficult aspect of managing diabetics. So now, if you eat more than this serving listed, then you are inviting problem to yourself. So I'm not going to waste time about this. Your portion size is very important. Let's go to the number 4. Okay. Number 4 is, let me check. I didn't see anything here. I didn't see anything here. I didn't see anything here. I didn't see anything there. Where did you ask? I didn't see the question here. I'm trying to find out where it is. I'm trying to figure out where is your question. I'm trying to see. All right, if I see the question, I'll answer it. Mark, I'm not seeing the question here. All right, let's keep going. If this is your first time to come across my page, please do not forget to subscribe to my page. I'm streaming on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. The Facebook comment, the YouTube comments. Then there's another group there. I don't understand what they're doing. It's like they have a group, because I can't understand what they are saying here. All those people that are watching on YouTube, I can't understand what you guys are arguing about there, because I cannot understand. It's not a question, and somebody is saying lion, dog, smooch. I don't understand what it is. So that's why I'm not following you guys. Katrina, hello. All right. Let me go to TikTok. There's no question on TikTok. Let me go to Facebook. Let me go. When you guys have hello, Katrina Geneva says hello. Hello, champs. Hello. When you guys finish arguing yourself there are some people here. What they are saying here doesn't make any sense. It's like I'm going to just block them, because I don't see the argument they are making here on YouTube. Okay, let's go to number 4. Okay, you have to eat lean meat and other proteins. So we're discussing what to eat if you have prediabetes. And on my intro, if you understand, on my intro, I did explain what is prediabetes. If you don't understand what is prediabetes and the number, you're going to find it very difficult. As I said in the beginning, prediabetes and diabetes symptoms are similar. They mimic each other, and most of the symptoms of prediabetes are mild and silent. You might have prediabetes for a number of months without even knowing that you're diabetics. So they mimic each other. It's only two symptoms of prediabetics or diabetes that is noticeable, which is the frequent urination and the blurry vision. But most of other symptoms, you mimic them. So that is why I said frequent urination is one symptom that you can notice as a prediabetics or as a diabetics. So if you're prediabetes, eat lean meat and food that contains a lot of proteins. Eat lean meat, okay? Meat doesn't contain carbohydrates, but it can be a significant source of what? Fat in your diet. Meat doesn't contain carbohydrate, but it has a significant source of what? Fat in your diet. So eating a lot of unhealthy fat can lead to prediabetics. So we have the good fat, we have the bad fat. So if you eat a lot of unhealthy fat, you have to identify what are those unhealthy fat that can lead you to have prediabetes, as well as high cholesterol and then heart disease. So that's one thing you have to worry about. That's why doctors are going to advise you to be very careful with red meat. Be very careful with what? Red meat. All right. So if you have prediabetics, okay, eating a diet low in saturated fat, okay, and also trans fat can also help to reduce risk of developing what? Heart disease. Now, that is why as a diabetics or as a prediabetics, I always advise patients, friends, colleagues, to reduce the number of times they frequent patronizing all these fast food joints. Advise everyone to reduce the number of times you frequent all these fast food joints. Because on those fast food joints you eat, they are there for profit. They are not there to give you a healthy food. Healthy food is very expensive. There are some fast food joints that are for healthy food, but they are very expensive. So you say, you know what, let me go where it's cheaper. Those fast food joints, they are there to make profit. And that is why you have to be very careful. And then once in a while, you can go and patronize them, but not constantly, because of the kind of oils, this trans fat oils or saturated fat oil they use. And because you are frequently in there, you are eating most of their food all the time, that can lead you to have what? You are eating bad fat. And that bad fat can lead you to have cholesterol and heart disease. Okay? And that becomes another terminal illness on your own self. So you're very careful on the number of times you patronize fast food just because of the saturated fat oils they use in their cooking. So eating lean meat and proteins can also help. But know that even though meat does not contain carbohydrate, it contains a lot of fat, unhealthy fat. And those unhealthy fat can lead you to have prediabetes and also cholesterol and heart disease. So that's why you have to be very careful. So you have to choose high proteins and fiber sources such as the following. Okay? Low fat, you have the beans and legumes, as I said before. We have the soya beans product. Then we have the eggs, the chicken, the turkey. Those are the lean meat. Okay? Those are high in, they have high proteins in those foods. So those ones are good for you as a prediabetics, and also it's not going to have an effect in your sugar level. Now, what I was trying to say before is we are looking away. Once you are pre-diabetics, you are not yet a diabetics. What can I do to send it into remission or to reverse it back? Because that is the only one chance you have to reverse it back so that you don't become diabetics. So doctor is going to tell you dieting is the first thing doctors are going to tell you. Dieting, what you eat, what you drink, exercise, reduce your weight to send into remission. And that has to be constant. I've seen some people, they go and do it for 1 month, they are okay, and then they go return back to what they were doing before, and then that pre-diabetes comes back. And now when it comes back, by the time they know it, they become diabetics. If you are changing a lifestyle to live a healthy life, it's permanent. So once you know that you are prone or you have a higher risk of developing diabetics, and then you are lucky to have a pre-diabetics or borderline diabetics, and doctor have notified you, you have a borderline diabetics, that is one chance you have to change your overall lifestyle. And that lifestyle that you change to live healthy have to be constant for the rest of your life. It's not something you do for 6 months and then you stop and return back to the old ways. No. It's a constant what you have to do. Okay? what you have to do to live a healthy life. Okay? I'm open to questions. Those that are watching me on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, if you have any question, I'm getting questions on Facebook, but I have not gotten any question on YouTube and TikTok. All right? So, let's keep going. Now, the fifth one is drinking alcohol in moderation. So once you have to pre-diabetics, you have to limit the intake of alcohol. For me, I advise everybody to stay away from alcohol. Once you have been notified, once you have been advised, or you find that you have a higher risk of developing diabetes or pre-diabetics, I don't use the word limiting alcohol. I advise you to stay away from alcohol completely. Okay? Stay away from alcohol completely. That is the best advice a doctor can tell you, not to limit it, because you might say, the doctor is not there with you 24 hours. You tend to abuse it. Okay? You tend to abuse it. So limiting is not the word I use. I use stay away from it completely. Give it up. Because first of all, there's no benefit in drinking. There's no benefit in taking alcohol when you're on medications or when you're diabetic. Because there's going to be an interference with your medications and the alcohol content. And you're making things worse for yourself. So if you have pre-diabetes or diabetes, I advise everybody just stay away from alcohol. Moderation is a healthy rule to live by most instances, but drinking alcohol is not an exception. Okay, so if you have pre-diabetics, stay away from alcohol. Okay, so because alcohol can make you dehydrate. When you start taking alcohol, it's going to cause you to have dehydrate. In addition, also contains high amount of sugar. Alcohol contains a lot amount of sugar. People don't know about that. Okay, which can cause your blood sugar spikes. So not only does it interfere with your medications, okay, it can also lead you to dehydration, and also alcohol contains a lot of sugar in them that most people don't know. So they keep drinking alcohol and they keep wondering, why is my medication not working? Why is my sugar level still high? It's because of your your alcohol intake. So I advise you to stay away from alcohol. If you are pre-diabetics or diabetics, I advise you to stay away from alcohol. It contains a lot of sugar. Most people don't know that it contains a lot of sugar. Alcohol contains a lot of sugar, okay? So stay away from it. So these are the rules. These are the food. These are how to, things to eat or things to avoid once you know you are pre-diabetics. That is one chance you have to send into remission to reverse that trend so that you don't become full-blown type 2 diabetics. And what you have to understand is that diabetes is very expensive to treat. Diabetes is one of the has the most expensive drug to treat. So not all families can handle diabetic patients. So that's why I advise every one of you to follow the advice. Seek the advice from your doctor, adhere to your advice from your doctor, and then eat healthy. Change your lifestyle. When you change your lifestyles and start living healthy, eating healthy, exercising, reducing your weight, okay, reducing your weight, you see that the number will now look positive. The number will now look positive. Cham, you say you only drink 2 liters a day. That does not look good. Even though I don't know if you're diabetics, but if you're diabetics or not, I advise you to stay away from alcohol because it has no any benefit drinking alcohol, especially if you have one of these terminal illness. First of all, alcohol contains a lot of sugar in them. Forget how it tastes. It contains a lot of sugar. So I advise you to stay away from it. Okay? What more? So instead of alcohol, What do I drink? Drink a lot of water. Plenty of water is good for you. So replace that alcohol or sugar beverages with water. Replace that beverages, those sugar tasting beverages or alcohol, with water. Drink a lot of water. Water is an important part of any healthy diet. Okay? It's important to drink a lot of water each day to prevent what? Dehydration. Now, if you have prediabetes, okay, water is healthier option than sugary sodas. Now, juices or even energy drinks. So that is one key benefit of water. Now, your craving organ is here. That thing that makes you to like sugary items is right in front of here. And that is why sometimes, let me give you guys an example. Have you noticed that sometimes you are thirsty? You are thirsty. You drink about 3-4 bottles of water, but you are still thirsty. And you keep wondering, I've drank a lot of water, why am I still feeling to drink more? Until maybe you see a Coke or a Fanta. As soon as you drink that thing that contains sugar, as soon as you drink it, you see that quenches that tastiness. And then you say, why am I diabetic? You have to control this. Don't allow this organ here to control you. Control it. So once you are pre-diabetic and you like drinking a lot of sugary items, okay? Once you are pre-diabetic and you like drinking the sugary items, once that craving comes up, drink a lot of water. If it's telling you, give me Coke, give me Fanta, drink a lot of water. That's how to change the mindset. So when time that this thing is craving for sugary items, keep drinking water. When there comes a time when this craving here, this organ, notice that you've understood the whole thing. That anytime I request for soda drinks, you drink water. That's how you change this cycle here. It will not disturb you anymore. You have to maintain that discipline. That you drink 2 bottles of water and it's craving for Coke. Drink water. If you're craving for Coke, drink water. That's how to change it. And by the time you change this control here, you see that you have less appetite of drinking sodas or any sugar beverages. So drinking a lot of water is healthy, okay, and also make you not to dehydrate. Okay, so it is important, instead of alcohol, drink a lot of water. Okay, the amount of water you drink per day depends on your body size, your activity levels, and also the climate you live in. But water is healthier than drinking alcohol. All right, so plenty of water is good. And then the last one is exercise. Exercise is the key. If you have prediabetes and you are not active, I will advise you to be active. Okay, exercise is very important. If you are not yet active, and you have prediabetes, I will advise you to start exercise. I just want to take some few minutes and watch what is going on YouTube and TikTok. There are certain things that I'm just trying to use few minutes. I'm just going to watch and see what is going on, because I'm trying to make sense of the conversation going on YouTube. I'm not making any sense what is going on there. And Facebook, I understand the conversation there. They're asking questions. But on YouTube, I'm trying to figure out what is the conversation all about. as I was saying, all right, as I was saying, for those that are watching me on TikTok, um, those that have joined the program now on TikTok, if you want to watch the full video, you have to go to YouTube or Facebook because TikTok allow only 60 minutes. So what you're going to see on my TikTok page is the clips. So for full video to watch, go on YouTube or Facebook. All right. So I'm just giving you guys notice about it. Cham, I don't understand your conversation. I don't understand whether you have a group that you are chatting with because everything that you are writing there is not making sense to me. So I don't understand what you are saying there in the YouTube. So I'm talking about exercise. It's part of the healthy lifestyles. If you have, if you have, if you have, Mike, you're welcome. If you have diabetics or pre-diabetics, exercise is one of the lifestyle that you have to change. Staying active is good for you as a pre-diabetics, okay? Especially if you have pre-diabetes, exercising is important. A lack of physical activities may increase insulin resistance. So the more you exercise, you are reducing the insulin resistance. But if you exercise, you are increasing, okay, the insulin resistance. Okay, insulin resistance. Exercise causes muscles to use glucose, all right, for energy and make the insulin work much better. I've explained through it before how insulin works in your body, okay, and what produces insulin. When you exercise constantly and become physical activity, have a physical active life, it increases your chance for you to really have a reduction of insulin resistance. Why you are having diabetes is because you are insulin resistant. The cells of your body is not having access to those excess glucose levels in your bloodstreams. So there is a buildup of sugar levels in your bloodstream because the cells in your body is not having access to those excess glucose levels due to insulin resistance. Either one, your insulin is producing less insulin. It's producing less insulin than the body needs to get rid of those excess glucose levels and move them into the cells of the body. Or that pancreas is producing more than enough insulin, but your body doesn't have to use those excess insulin to get rid of those excess glucose levels into the cells where they are needed. So exercise is going to help you to become less insulin resistant. All right? Okay. I'm expecting a question. If you guys have any question, do you guys have any question? I'm opening the floor now. I'm opening the floor now for you guys to ask question. Do you guys have any question? Tyrone, you're welcome. John, you're welcome. Magu, you're welcome. Malibon, you're welcome. All of you have joined the program. Okay. Devonshire, say hi. We are waiting for the question. If you guys have any question, we're just discussing about the food to eat if you have pre-diabetics. The food to eat is what I've been discussing for the past 1 hour. For those that are joining us now, you're going to watch the full video on YouTube or on Facebook. If you want to get the full clips, because those that are watching us TikTok can only allow 1 minute, so you're going to see the clips. But if you want to watch the full video of this particular program, you have to go to Facebook or YouTube to watch it. Okay, on Facebook is the same name. You're going to search me on the same name, Managing Diabetics TV. You see it there and you watch the full clips on Facebook. All right, because TikTok can only allow 60 seconds, so they're only going to give you samples, just a clip of what it is. So if you're curious to watch the full clips, okay, go to Facebook. All right, Fred, do you have any question more? I'm just waiting to see if there's any question. All right. Nothing is going on YouTube. No question there. All right, friends. I'm going to give you guys my final takeaway, and then we can close the program. And I'm going to see you guys shortly for another afternoon program. So, what is my final takeaway? If there's no any further questions, what are my final takeaway? So, your eating habits, okay, play a key role in prediabetics management and also help to prevent type 2 diabetes. As I said in my intro, once you have prediabetics, that does not mean that you have to have it must be type 2 diabetes later. No. Once you have prediabetics, that's a warning sign to change your lifestyles in what you drink, in what you eat, exercise if you're not exercising, and reduce your weight. Send that prediabetes into remission. So it's a warning sign. It is not a certainty that once you have prediabetes, it's going to go into full-blown to type 2 diabetes. Okay? So I'm just letting you guys know. So once you have prediabetes, changing your overall lifestyle is the key to sending that prediabetes into remission or sending into reverse. Sometimes we refer prediabetics as a borderline diabetics. So understanding that is a way to living a healthy lifestyle. Okay? It's a way to living a healthy lifestyle. So changing the way you do things, the way what you eat, can help you navigate that type 2 diabetes in the later on. Okay, friends? So as I was saying, if you receive a diagnosis of prediabetics, you and your doctor can develop an eating plan that works best for you. That is where I'm going to stop today. Okay, that is where I'm going to stop today. And if you guys have any further question, you can Send it on the comment section. The one thing you have to, I'm going to repeat it one more time. For those that are joining now, the program is about to come to an end. What you are going to see on TikTok are clips, maybe less than 1 minute clips. TikTok allow only 1 minute. This video is about an hour plus. So if you want to watch the full video, you have to go to Facebook or YouTube to watch the full video. All right, of what we discussed today on this particular topic. So those that are joining us now, you gotta be patient. Once I am off air, you can now watch the program. So, in the absence of any further question, friends that are watching me on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, I say thank you this morning, Sunday. Thank you this morning, Sunday. All right, and I'm going to see you guys one more time today. I'm going to see you guys one more time today. So for now, stay blessed, enjoy your Sunday afternoon or evening or morning, depending on your locations. And if this is the first time coming across my page, friends, please do not forget to subscribe to my page. If this is the first time coming across my page, please do not forget to subscribe to my page. And also share the video to your friends. And also, if you like the content of this video, give me a thumbs up. Like the page, like the video. All right, thank you guys once more, and then see you guys in an hour or more for another program. Thank you. Bye-bye.